So in terms of more planning of the clinical development, obviously, um, because of the need to integrate, yeah, to integrate the different viewpoints of the different stakeholders that we have, we obviously always start as usual from our commercial opportunity, our investment thesis, our expectation for a net present value, and we've got an idea about the lead indication, the indications that we might be sequencing here. We've got strategic objectives, critical success factors, etc., as we do in every development program. And from these, we derive our initial labeling concepts and our draft therapeutic product profile. And the therapeutic product profile, obviously, we employ it to then guide our clinical development planning, as well as our discussions with the regulators. My proposition is, my suggestion is that for cell and gene therapies particularly, we include to the draft TPP already an early value proposition that focuses much more on the other stakeholders that are involved, which are the patients, which are represented here by the blue icon, the health technology assessment bodies and payers, which are the orange icon, and then the healthcare providers and the physicians, which are represented here by the light blue icon. And so we're looking at all the different stakeholders, at the main stakeholders at that point in time. And then based on that early value proposition, in integration with our clinical development plan, we are developing a complementary value evidence generation plan. In this value evidence generation plan, we might include a real-world evidence strategy. We might include a patient-reported outcome strategy, a companion diagnostic or biomarker strategy, a digital strategy, and our good old venerable and tried and tested outcomes research and health economics, so the cost effectiveness, budget impact assessments, etc. So our study designs are always aligned then with the objectives, overall objectives of the asset strategy, our therapeutic product profile, and our early value proposition. And I don't mind if the TPP and the EVP are two separate documents, or if you have that as one document and you say this is my planning and my target document for my development program. Yeah, but what we're seeing very often are that certain value parameters, certain, let's say, patient and payer focused parameters are crammed at the bottom. If the TPP has to be one PowerPoint slide, right? Then very often we have at the top part we have efficacy, then we have safety, yeah, and then at the bottom we've got a few of these, let's say, other parameters, for example, hospitalization and the PRO measure or whatever. And what I'm saying is, give the early value proposition its due, create a second slide or a second set of slides that addresses the specific needs of these other stakeholders, which obviously also means in a relatively early fashion, as we've discussed in terms of the patient's engagement with these stakeholders and understanding their specific needs and priorities in terms of the indication that we have. And of course, our clinical development plan will lead us to our regulatory submission, hopefully approval, and then our evidence generation plan in concert with the clinical development plan will lead us to our global value dossier that we'll use in market access, pricing and reimbursement, launch, and commercialization. And only by incorporating these thinking very, very early in the process, and I'm talking here about the beginning of phase 1/2, your first in human trial, right? That's when you're making this planning and you're generating that evidence generation plan in parallel with your clinical development plan, or you're even perhaps integrating it in the future.